So today I've got my hands on the Realme GT Master Edition. Now this is a mid-range smartphone priced currently around $265 on Realme's official AliExpress page. The Realme GT Master Edition is powered by a brand new chipset which I have not seen used in any smartphone to date. So this phone has the Snapdragon 778G, which is actually a 6nm octa-core clocked at 2.4 GHz, and you also have a 120Hz Super AMOLED display with Gorilla Glass 5 protection and a blazing fast 360Hz touch sampling and lots more. So it looks like this could be a powerful mid-range flagship performer, but we will of course be testing that chipset to find out exactly how powerful it actually is. Also, to keep things fun and interesting and different from the other reviews out there, I'm going to be reviewing this phone in a different way, and at the same time I'll be showing you exactly how good the phone is and what are its strong and weak points. So I present to you once again the CTR Mark score. So we do have 10 categories to go through, and each category can earn a maximum of 10 points. So that's a total of 100 points that this phone can potentially earn. Higher scores means better overall smartphone. And I will be scoring this smartphone in real time after every single round. So let's begin with round one, which is the box and accessories. So we do have a rather large box, but inside you are getting a 65-watt super dart charger included. You've got a Type A to Type C cable, a grey silicone case with a very nice smooth finish and Realme logo, SIM eject tool and your paperwork. So you have all the usual accessories included, and a 65-watt super dart charger, which means 0 to 100% in just 33 minutes. I do personally really like super dart charging, but unfortunately there are no earphones included, even though this phone does have an audio jack at the bottom. So the first round for box and accessories has scored a 9 out of 10. And next up we are going to be talking about the design and build quality. Now this is no doubt a pretty looking smartphone. It's built with a metal frame going all the way around, and it's made from what feels like a plastic back with a white matte finish. And this color is called Lunar White, and to get that bright white color they've actually used a 6-step ink printing process, and yes, I have to admit it does look very nice. The camera bump, however, is made from plastic. Overall, you are getting a subtle and minimalistic design, but at the same time, it still manages to maintain some elegance. But keeping in mind, this is supposed to be a budget-priced handset, although it doesn't look or feel it. So this Master Edition is 8.0mm thick and weighs 178 grams and does feel quite nice and light in the hands. And at the bottom of the smartphone, we have a headphone jack, microphone, Type-C port and single loudspeaker. On the side we have a power button, and at the top there is another microphone, and on the other side we have our volume rocker and SIM card tray, and this takes 2 5G nano SIM cards, but there is no support for MicroSD at all. And as I mentioned already, this only has a single loudspeaker at the bottom. So for the design and build quality, even though it has a plastic back, I do really like that lunar white finish. Now the phone does feel well made and solid, doesn't feel cheap, and it's fairly slim and light. Also, I think it's fair to say that we are not expecting an IP rating at this price point. So I'm going to give this round a 7 out of 10 for design and build quality. So next up we are going to talk about the screen. So you are looking at a 6.43-inch Super AMOLED 120Hz display. It is a beautiful Samsung panel. You have 1000 nits of peak brightness and 409 pixels per inch. Screen res is 2400 by 1080, and you do have Gorilla Glass 5 protection with HDR10 certification. The screen looks bright and sharp with very nice colors and contrasts, and not forgetting that it's a 120Hz display, Full HD Plus with a hole punch corner camera. So yes, you're getting some bezels going all the way around, although they are quite slim bezels and they don't really distract you or spoil the design. Also, you do have the option to switch between 60Hz and 120Hz, or you can leave it on automatic so the OS can switch to the best frame rate based on what you're doing. So overall screen quality for the Realme GT Master Edition has earned a pretty good 9 out of 10. So the next round is all about the processing power. So this phone is powered by the Snapdragon 778G. It's a 6nm octa-core chip clocked at 2.4 GHz. This is supposed to be a mid-range chipset which offers a pretty decent gaming performance. You also have the Adreno 642L, and the phone is supported by 8 gigs of LPDDR4 RAM and 256 gigs of internal storage. And this smartphone also has a trick up its sleeve where you can use the internal storage to expand the RAM up to an additional 5 gigs. So that's 8 plus 5, 13 gigs of RAM, people. A very nice little feature you have here. So here are the graphics settings for COD Mobile. You can play COD on very high graphics with very high frame rate with the option to maximize the frame rate, but that will drop the graphics down to high.
Captured C. Capturing Bravo. UAV online. Enemy has Alpha. Taking the lead. Captured B. Sentry gun ready for deployment. Bingo down! Capturing A. Sentry gun deployed. Losing Charlie. Losing B. Captured A. UAV online. Lost B. Sentry gun ready to deploy. We're capturing B. UAV spotted. Friendly sentry gun deployed. Lost C. Enemy down. Captured Bravo. Down. We're capturing C. Losing Bravo. Take him down. Take him down. Losing Alpha. Hunter killer drone deployed. Captured Charlie. Sentry gun ready for deployment.
So overall, decent processing power for your everyday tasks. And in the Antutu benchmark test, we did achieve 528K. So a very respectful mid-range performance from this chipset earns this smartphone a 7 out of 10 for processing power. Now the next round is the overheating test. Now, one way to really test the performance of a smartphone is to try running 3 back-to-back Antutu benchmark tests to see if the phone struggles, overheats, or experiencing CPU throttling, or even all of the above. So here are the results of my 3 back-to-back Antutu tests, and you can also see the temperatures after each test. So in the first Antutu result, we achieved 527K, and the temperature was around 39 degrees, which is definitely a good start. So second test, we achieved again 527K, and the temperatures went up to 42 degrees. And in the third test, we actually achieved a slightly higher score of 529K. So after 3 Antutu benchmark tests, it looks like the performance has not dropped. In fact, the performance actually went up. Also, the phone did not overheat and felt only slightly warm to the touch. So that means you can game on this smartphone as much as you like, and you do not need to worry about any overheating or performance drops. So the Realme GT Master Edition earns itself a 9 out of 10 in this category for sustaining the overall performance when pushed to the limit. Now the internal disk speeds can determine how fast an app opens or closes, or how fast you can copy a file to and from your device. So as you can see, the smartphone has achieved read speeds of 900 megabytes per second and write speeds of 553 megabytes per second. So internal disk speeds are quite decent. So for this round, we're going to give it an 8 out of 10. Now let's talk about the system OS. Now this phone is of course running RealmeUI 2.0 on top of Android 11. You are getting a very smooth and slick experience. Now there were a few pre-installed apps like Facebook, LinkedIn, WPS Office and Netflix. They are actually quite useful apps rather than bloatware, but again, very easy to uninstall them if you don't want them. Now the RealmeUI brings a lot of customization options, giving you tweaks for navigation, gestures and motions, screenshots, screen recording, assistive board, which is a floating home button that you can move around on any side of the display. You also have a smart slider, quick launcher, and your split screen settings. If you like customizations, then this UI will give you heaps of customizations from layouts, gestures, icons, themes, and so much more. I also really like the iOS style status bar, which you drag down from the top, and that is also fully customizable. So lots of interesting and convenient user tweaks, and overall great user experience with basically no adware or bloatware added, apart from the 3 or 4 apps that I mentioned. Now I'm going to give the RealmeUI 2.0 an 8 out of 10 for System OS. Now let's talk about the cameras. So we have a triple camera setup with a 64 megapixel primary, and that's a Sony IMX682 sensor and can shoot up to 4K at 30 frames per second. There is also an 8 megapixel ultra wide, which is also a Sony IMX355. And finally, you have a telemacro, which is an Omni Vision sensor. Now on the front, we have a generous 32 megapixel Sony IMX615, which is capable of 1080p at 30 frames per second. Now let's just have a quick look at the camera menu. So we have night mode, video, photo, portrait mode, 64 megapixel mode, and more. And under more, you have a few more options that you can play around with. Stuff like time-lapse, dual video, you've got ultra macro, and even the new street mode. Now you can shoot a maximum of 4K at 30 frames per second with the rear camera, and with the front facing camera you can shoot a maximum of 1080p at 30 frames per second. Video recording at 4K 30 FPS is surprisingly stable and actually looks very good. Photos both outdoor and indoor look great, and you can even take pretty detailed looking low light shots. This camera is actually quite impressive in performance, especially for everyday point and shoot videos and photos, and from my quick camera tests I'm actually quite satisfied with the results, and therefore the Realme GT Master Edition achieves an 8 out of 10 in the camera department. Now it's time for the speaker tests. Now this phone does have a single loudspeaker at the bottom, and it does support high-res audio. I'll give you guys a quick taste. Whilst the sound is quite loud and clear, another speaker at the top would have been amazing to give you that fuller, balanced sound. But as a single speaker, even though it sounds very nice, I can't give it more than a 7 out of 10, as most phones nowadays do manage at least dual speakers. Now coming to the battery performance, this phone has a 4300 milliamp hour battery with a 65 watt super dart charger included in the box. So it takes around 33 minutes to get you from 0 to 100%, and the battery can last you just over a day with medium to normal usage. So great battery performance with super dart charging combined means the Master Edition achieves 9 out of 10 in the battery department. So there you have it guys, that was my breakdown review of the Realme GT Master Edition, covering everything from the design, the screen, the specs, the performance, the cameras, and lots more. So very interesting results, and here is the breakdown of how this phone has scored. And the Realme GT Master Edition has achieved a total CTR mark score of 81 out of 100. Now the CTR mark score is just for entertaining purposes, but at the same time you're getting a pretty good idea of what this device is capable of. So I have to admit, you're getting a very good overall performance. The phone achieved pretty good scores in nearly every single category. The price also plays an important role. This phone is currently selling on Realme's official AliExpress page, which I think is an amazing price for what you're getting. My genuine opinion shows in my scores. The Master Edition offers a great overall experience and superb value for your money. And the highlights for me is that Super AMOLED Samsung display with 120Hz refresh and the ability to switch between automatic and manual refresh options. You have a very good in-screen fingerprint reader. The new Snapdragon chip offers a pretty good performance for the price. Great for gaming, no overheating, a very good Snapdragon performance. You've got the innovative and highly customizable RealmeUI 2.0, very decent camera performance, amazing battery life, and you also get a few bonuses chucked in via the headphone jack and the fact that this is a 5G dual SIM smartphone. So let me know what you guys think. How did you guys score it? Do let me know in the comments. Also, my Samsung Galaxy Fold 3 and all the new Galaxy Watch reviews are coming soon. So do sub, like, and hit the bell icon so you can be notified as soon as I drop those videos. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a brilliant day. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.